can't believe you did that, Andy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Deranged and Questing, the Necromancer's Idiot Apprentice. I could tell you what this is all about, but instead I'm going to let this cutting-edge animation do it for me.
Previously, I'm the big bad Necromancer. Get wrecked, nerds. Mwahaha. Pew 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 pew. Oof, I'm out of here. Escape.
Huzzah! Master, I got that gem you wanted. Eek! Dink! So, ghosts, help me! Hey, I need 3 heroes. Go and get them for me.
Here they are, sir. Here are your heroes.
Okay, listen up. I need you to get the souls out of this idiot before he explodes and kills us all.
And thus their adventure began. This is Deranged and Questing, the Necromancer's Idiot Apprentice.
Once again, we are all flummoxed by the high quality of that. And it's a great way to start off the show. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, I am Grak Skullcrusher, dwarven berserker. We are joined by Ser Doran, the human cleric.
At your service.
And Brom Wideberth, high elf rogue, confused about that still.
So it goes.
And we've got Greg, our dungeon master, who's going to come up with another geeky phrase this week, which is...
Best cat dad ever.
That's actually cool. Last week, I don't know what got into you, but that last week's one was dorky as all hell. So you one-upped your game this week. Great job, Greg.
The dorkiest.
Yes, and I am the best cat dad ever. So, are we ready to go?
Oh, of course.
Ready to go.
Everyone excited? Our team has made their way so far to the town of Written, containing the thread of the wolves, at least the soul part. You guys just kind of let them wander off after that. It sounds like a problem for a different adventuring group. But after a talk with the mage known as Odessa Wellseer, learning that the Hill of Stars is a great place to get some souls out, but is currently occupied by the Necromancer and all of his forces, the mage directed you guys to enter the Dread Circle, a place of undead corruption, to meet the druid Gravit, who will guide you all in the process of communicating with the spirits. So we pick up with the group just literally watching Grak's failed attempt to tame an animal companion, and you hear the familiar voice of Detective Dick Donovan pipe up, and he says, "Stuck in a mystery, as dark as the empty, unlit space between the dwarves' 2 ears. I look at my 3 companions, thinking of how did I agree to follow Stumpy McDumbface, Mismatch Patch Ugly Clothes, and Pointy Ears Skin and Bones." And then he just pauses in mid-sentence, and his eyes turn white, and a look of confusion comes across the face of Abelard. New Soul Abelard, you just pop into an unfamiliar setting, and you are watching a dwarf who's standing over a pile of vomit with what looks like human finger bones in it. Also to the side, slightly farther away, you see an elf and a human whose clothes don't seem to match in any recognizable pattern by any fashion authority at all. What do you do?
Super villains! Spoon! I take a swing at the dwarf's head.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Whoa.
Let's get right into that. You can make an attack roll if you wish. If you don't have your character up, we could do it for you.
This is the most aggressive Abelard we've seen, I feel.
Christmas
Right?
has come early for Brom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Normally they're yeah.
Okay, so we're going to swing the battle axe for her. You, as a mighty warrior, I'm assuming, because you're just charging in at people, I'm assuming that whatever body you were in was a little bit different than this one. You kind of swing, and it seems that your muscles aren't quite there. In fact, you look down at your body, and it's much skinnier and much weaker and much younger.
I'm not blue. What's going on?
It was a miss, unfortunately, and you guys see new Abelard scream supervillains and try to kill Grax. What you guys doing?
Oh no. Doran feels like he should be
I feel
more
like
surprised
Grak
about
needs
this,
to
but
like
he's not.
settle. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Doran feels like he should be more surprised that this is happening, but at this rate, nothing's beginning to surprise him about Abelard. So he's just going to prepare to try to restrain Abelard in this current state when the opportunity avails itself. So Doran's going to try to come up behind Abelard and get ready to wrap his arms around him, depending on how Grak handles this situation.
Okay, and what you doing, Brom?
Brom is looking around for a source of popcorn.
Weirdly enough, there's a bag that just fell on the ground by your feet.
Brom picks up the bag of popcorn, leans against a building, and watches Grak being chased around by Abelard.
And what are you doing, Grak?
Grak is gonna bop the kid a little bit on the mouth.
Just hit the reset button.
Okay, make whatever kind of attack roll you're gonna do.
Sit down. Is that like a barehanded attack? Do I just do a D20?
Yeah, do D20 and we'll add the modifiers for it. Ooh, it seems that while in a weaker body, this kid is still pretty fast, and that strike goes wide as well. So the person who's currently named as Sucker.
No
what do
way,
you want
he's
to
got
do?
he's got like a 10 armor class or something, right?
He's very wily.
Yeah, but you know,
I'm
he's
totally
gaining
gonna
some
get
skills.
distracted by the popcorn and be like, "Are you these guys? Is this a show? Did I walk into a show instead?"
Yes.
Are they a troupe of actors?
Yes.
Ah, why are they in the
And,
city?
well, we are a troupe of actors. And Brom looks up, clearly trying to come up with something that inspired by the detective that had joined them for the wonderful caper around the
I'm completely
wolves.
distracted because a squirrel walks by, and then I remember I'm not blue, and oh my god, I'm naked. So I need to reach into my bag and pull out my giant blue suit.
Okay, so you
Battles
guys.
all my muscles.
So you guys see Abelard out of pretty much nowhere, something that you're familiar with, pull out a big piece of blue cloth that's folded, and he starts unfolding it, and literally over the boots and everything, just kind of sticks one foot through, and a second foot through, and the arms through, and fully up with the head, and it actually has these two ant-like antennas that are bobbling. And now Abelard is completely covered head to toe with only a little bit of the face showing in a blue spandex outfit.
Much better, yes. All right,
At
well,
least-
you kids have fun. I have to get back to the city. Obviously, someone has sent me out here so they can attack the city. And I go leaping away.
Brom would like to try to catch Abelard on his merry way.
Okay, and Ser Doran, you were sneaking into position too, so both you guys could make athletics checks to grab.
Yes, so my armor gives me advantage.
Yep.
So I will see what I can do about this.
Brom falls face first into the mud with a 3.
Brom definitely tripped on a second unseen bag of popcorn and slipped.
This is going well.
My popcorn!
Is it mud or is it the wolf vomit?
I rolled a 15, so I have a 19.
Okay, so with that, Ser Doran, you're able to grab this new Abelard in a blue outfit and restrain him. He's struggling and kicking, but unfortunately, this weak teenage body doesn't quite have the strength needed to break out of your grasp. So you're just holding him in the air, and you guys are free to discuss what you want.
I feel like anybody
Sure,
other
no
than the
actor.
cleric should be restraining this child. There's lots of lawsuits about things like this happening. Someone help me, please.
Wait a minute, cleric? Are you one of those priests we've been hearing about on TV?
Yes, Grak, try the reset button.
Is that
again.
why I'm in the body of a young boy?
Oh,
Or
this
a
is exactly what I was
supervillain?
afraid of.
Should have known from the clothes.
This blue spandex suit. I don't know what to do about this.
Well, I mean, it's a better coordinated color than your current outfit, so maybe you should take it off.
No, it's all blue. I match everything. You're trying to get me naked for the priest.
You're supposed to go, not
You're
match.
a bad,
Go.
bad man.
Oh, help. Anybody help. Dorn
I'm totally
like,
going to try
holds
and pick
onto
him up and throw him now.
Yeah, Dorn's holding on very heavy. I'm sure that he's not going to be able to be thrown, but he's just praying for someone to come up with a better idea than what he's already doing.
Okay, Abelard's going to make a strength check to see if he's possible to do it. 5 minus 1. You definitely, while being held in the air by Ser Doran, I won't mention where he's holding you in the air by, but you try to lift him up, but these skinny arms are just not meant for what your purpose in life is.
Brom goes around to face the blue-clad Abelard and bends down a little bit and says, "Hey, you got it. You got him, my friend. We are, in fact, supervillains, but we're on a redemption arc."
Redemption, you say?
Yes, you got us this far.
What are you redeeming?
Well, he's redeeming his horrible fashion sense.
He's not doing a very good job of it.
No, he really needs your help. And
have you thought of wearing all blue?
It's an option. We can discuss it.
I'm glad I could help. Now, if you'll unhand me, I can be on my way.
Well, you actually swore an oath to help all of us.
I'm narrating here. The city, they need me. I must get back. Sorry, what were you saying?
Brom just gestures to Grak, clearly saying, "You try. I'm out."
Grak is going to bop the kid again.
Okay,
to reset that little brain in his head.
Everything can be solved with enough violence.
Yep, and you can even bake your. That's easy enough. So, Sucker, you get punched right in the face. It kind of makes you a little bit dizzy. You're a little bit shook up, and it kind of calms you down a small bit as you realize things aren't quite what they seem here. Hopefully it'll make you a little bit more susceptible to their conversation, but you guys are free to discuss this as you wish.
I totally sneezed directly on the dwarf.
Oh, we're quarantining now.
Not in the face! Why would you do that?
Supervillain.
Kind of supervillain. Look at my pretty face. Look what you've done. I pull my mask down a little bit and wipe my nose with it and put it back up.
Brom turns to Grak and to Doran and says, "Rope? Drive the kid out of town? Time's ticking."
Sounds like a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
You really are the perverted kind of priest. This isn't how you find redemption, my friend.
It's a long road to redemption.
It gets
That's
even
a
longer
bump
when you're
start
dragging a
rope.
child that you're trying to disrobe. Perverted rogue.
Brom pulls out some rope and ties Abelard up.
okay, so it's easy enough because of Abelard's frame and structure. You guys are able to tie him up. I'll assume that you even
I struggle nonstop, kicking and flailing. Sometimes making high-pitched screams.
So with the help of the 3 companions, they're able to tie Sucker up. Normally screams like this would bring a lot of guards and stuff like that, but you're looking around and the streets are completely empty. It is super weird. It's unnatural.
Bad touch! Strange man! Bad touch! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
Doran reaches over and touches Sucker and casts silence.
Ah! Bad touch! Bad touch!
Okay, so Sucker gets silenced. Sucker is still screaming the entire time, but no sound is coming at her, and you guys are able to drag him out of the area with no further incident. Any eyes that were peering out from behind the boarded up windows and doors just kind of let you guys go on your way.
Are they
Still-
dragging me or carrying me?
They're carrying
Actually,
you, I'm sure. Right?
No,
I told
we
them
find
whoever's carrying me.
we find a little white cart since we can't have a white van, and we
Dumb.
yes.
The town is used to this kind of behavior,
Not even
apparently.
candy in this
Nothing
one.
abnormal to see here.
So in a small wheelbarrow-sized cart, Sucker is brought out, and the journey
Parents
north
stealing
begins.
Children.
Okay, so you guys, you start to make your way out onto the road with a struggling and complaining Sucker the entire way. I'm assuming.
Going to hear about this.
This is the most combative Abelard yet. I don't know how we're going to handle this, but
Hopefully, a chance for a superhero will present itself along the way.
Yeah, we better find some bad guys. Worse bad guys than us.
No one worse.
So you guys go to bad guys or us now? Okay, so you guys.
Arthur!
So you guys leave town, you make your way through the woods, and at some point you guys have already hit the edge of the Dread Ring, as the wizard called it, and you could tell what it is because the plants start to go from a vibrant, bright green to like a dull gray slowly. And as you guys get further in, stepping on the grass, it's more like stepping on frozen leaves. You hear them break and crumbling as you step on them. You guys see what you assume is your target in the far distance. It's a very tall hill, maybe a full day's travel. As you guys are traveling, the land's getting a lot more treacherous every hour. It's getting very swampy at this point. The patches of dry land are getting less and less, and you start to see these weird fungal growth everywhere. These weird swarm of bugs and mosquitoes and God knows what as you get closer to the center of the Dread Ring. This plants start taking on a sicker, deadlier color tone as you guys get closer. After about like 3 hours of mucking through this land, actually, why don't you guys all make a perception check for me real quick?
Boy. Are we being distracted by Sucker throwing a fit while we're trying to be perceptive?
No, I totally
you're
fell
used
asleep
to
like
it.
15 minutes in.
Brom rolls.
I
a
am,
7.
however, now drooling on whoever's carrying me. With my teeth still firmly embedded in whatever.
I rolled. Doran rolls a 2, so that's going to be a 6. Not very
Okay. You guys are good. So you guys are walking through this swampy area, sticking to the patches of the dry land whenever you can, and all of a sudden, with no sort of warning, you guys come across this. And let me show you a map real quick. And a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just give me a second. And you guys are walking on a dry patch, and then out of nowhere, boom, this big, gigantic worm just comes
Penis
bursting
monster!
out. It comes bursting out of the water, and it actually sends you guys flying in different directions as it kind of tramples across you all. So for purposes of this little battle map, anything that's bright green is regular land and it's good. Anything that's like darker green is more like swamp water. It's going to be difficult terrain, so it's going to cost twice the movement for you to go through it. and anything with the branches or vines or stuff like that is going to be very difficult to move through. It's going to give you a little bit of cover, but it's also going to make actions which you do that are physical a lot tougher. So let's all roll initiative real quick, guys. I did not pre-roll this time, so let me clear this. I will roll for Abelard. That's no problem.
So I'm guessing I've woken up. What was the
Oh man,
explosion?
Doran's not feeling too hot after that, rolling a natural
Correct.
1, so I'll be going last.
Brom rolled a 16.
Solid.
Okay, Brom 16.
Brom's going to carry us to victory here.
Let's plug this in.
I wouldn't count on that.
Or we're gonna die.
I'm totally as soon as I wake up say, "You're not sacrificing me to your penis god, you perverted priest," and I take off running.
Okay,
By
so
running, I mean I'm trying to jump and just kind of leaping.
Flailing around in the swamp.
okay, so right now the worm is still
I'm trying to
moving
do the
across you.
superhero jumps.
Okay, Grak is going to go first. So Grak, what do you want to do? It looks like the worm's still
now,
moving in a
Grak is
northwest
looking
direction.
and is it looking like
Yeah, you
it's going to
can't see me.
turn around and take a bite out of us, or just kind of going across our paths?
It looks like it is violent and is hungry.
It could be one of our friends.
Those are the cues Grak responds best. So he's going to go into a rage as per usual and attack.
Okay, make your attack rolls.
I clicked and rolling. Sorry.
This swamp monster has rendered us
My
all
computer's going a little
speechless.
slow right now.
Clearly,
I'm still screaming Arthur.
Good cover.
Every now and then I might scream Made in America.
Do you want me to roll it for you, Grak?
Yeah, please.
Okay, and are you attacking reckless or just normal?
Oh, can I do reckless attack on my first? I thought I had to rage for the first round and
No,
then
you can reckless
afterward.
whatever you'd like.
The reckless attack is where you have advantage on your swing, but anybody who attacks you before your next turn would get advantage against you.
do it.
Okay.
He will reckless attack because that is the mood he's in.
Okay, 17 plus your modifiers, 23. So you do a total of 12 points of damage to the creature. And it screams pretty loudly, and it's not looking too happy. Anything else? Your bonus action was raging. Anywhere else that you want to move, or you're good?
I'm good right there.
Okay. Abelard, a.k.a. Sucker, you are up. What do you want to do?
I'm still running away.
Okay, you want to run away?
And then I notice that I have my bag, and I'm like, oh, my bag. If my suit was in there, maybe my strength is too. I start digging around in the bag, looking for something that will give me my superhuman strength and nigh invulnerability back.
Okay. So I'll say you run out this way. Let's make a persuasion roll for this Abelard. Oh God.
That was a 2.
Yep, a 2, which was a natural 1. Yeah. So you are looking for something to find your strength. You literally come out empty-handed, and you realize that if you're gonna find your strength, it's gotta be through yourself at this point.
Well, I'd better be starting through a chain link fence and stay here, so I keep running.
You said that you're gonna run?
I'm still running. I'm running away. I'm still screaming, Arthur.
Okay. Next up is Brom. What do you want to do, Brom?
Brom wants to take a flying leap, jump onto the snake thing's head, and fire his bogus right into its whatever passes for a brain.
Okay,
Back there
make me
having too much fun with that penis god. I'm out of here. I'll let I'll let Sewer Urchin know about this when I get back to the city. But I'm not staying.
Acrobatics?
fake athletics or acrobatics roll for me just to see if you get on top of this thing.
Acrobatics rolled a 19.
Nice. You're right up on top of the head, and you can make your attack roll with advantage as you're doing this Darren move, which will actually be sneak attack too, because you have advantage now.
Yes.
Dex to it.
So it's bogus and the bogus bite, correct?
Yes.
So rolling my bogus and my bogus bite. For those of you just tuning in, Brom has a bow that he loves. It has teeth. It likes to nom on things. With a 14
we know I'm
to the bow and 26 to the bite.
Okay, so let me just look here real quick. You shoot the arrows down right into the head of the creature, and it's a clean shot. How can you miss? But unfortunately, it deflects off of its scaly hide. However, after that, the bow itself, it just kind of grows this big mouth and just bites down onto the back of the neck. And it just takes a big chunk out, ripping one of the creature's scales off, and it starts bleeding from the back of its neck with a decent amount of damage.
Perfect. Can I use my bonus action to disengage?
Yes. You hop off.
Brom hops off, disengages.
Which direction do you want to go? Or just stand there?
In generally the same vicinity. He takes a step to the kind of behind the creature, just so it's not directly in line of biting back.
Okay. Next up is this worm.
Grak is gonna call, watch out for that tail.
That is a good call. So the first thing the worm is going to do.
Tail, I'm definitely hightailing it out of here.
The creature is going to make a.
Kidnapped by a sex cult.
It's got a multi-attack. It's going to bite and do a tail stinger.
Definitely said made in America and back out here.
It's going to take a bite attack on Grak, and it's going to use the tail attack on Brom. So let's make the attack on Grak first. 25 to hit. Okay, Grak, I need you to make me a DC 16 dex save, but it's with advantage because you see it coming.
You're very dexterous, dwarf. Just do like a cartwheel or something.
You say that now.
I'm hoping for you.
Did it roll?
It's coming.
There you go.
He was a pervert. He's already coming.
Cartwheels, backflips, everything he's got to do.
Okay, so it looks like this creature is straight up trying to bite you and swallow you. You do take 13 points of damage with your raging is reduced down to 6, but you are able to avoid being trapped in its jaws, which is a very good thing. Then we have the tail attack on Brom, which is a 15. Does that hit?
15 does not hit.
Okay, you are able to nimbly hop out of the way of the swipe with Grak's warning, so you are not struck. With that, the creature is going to keep moving forward. Both Brom and Grak, you guys can make an attack of opportunity if you wish.
Of course.
And it looks like the creature is about to burrow back under the water, but not just yet.
23.
That is some good damage.
Did mine roll? Sorry, I can't see the...
No, it did not roll.
Okay, Tony, do you want to take over his rolls for the rest? I'll roll this one, but...
Sure.
Okay, he has a 20 to hit with him for 14 damage. So this thing's starting to, it's definitely starting to get a little bit bloodied.
Go
Ser
team!
Doran, it looks like it wants to dive under the water, and you're up. What do you want to do?
So Doran, knowing that his last few melee attacks have failed horribly, instead readies a spell and calls upon Lathander to deal some damage here. So he will blast him with a guiding bolt.
Okay. Is there a saving throw involved with that for him? Or is it just an attack roll?
Hit. Yeah, it's an attack roll. So I rolled a 16, so Doran got a 22 for 13 radiant to the back of the dome.
22 definitely hurts it.
I think tied me up so tight so I'd look like one of their gods.
22 hits.
Dastardly fiends. Get out of this.
Okay, and with that...
Looking around for a rock or something to cut the rope on as I'm biting it.
And with that, the creature goes under the water.
Oh, this rope tastes terrible.
Grak, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna step onto dry land and sort of put his back. Well, he's on an island, so he's gonna kind of stand in the middle of the island and sort of like just constantly spin around, looking wildly in all directions, making himself very, very dizzy in the process. As he's, come on out, you fat beastie! Come and take your drubbing like a man or a worm or whatever you call yourself. Trying to goad it into attacking.
Okay, and if it jumps
and I guess
up...
it's like preparing for an attack or something?
Yep. If it comes within melee range, you get a swipe on it. Abelard, a.k.a. Sucker, you see this foul worm creature coming and attacking these people. You're a little confused what's going on, but you see them fighting it. Clearly, it's an enemy of theirs. What do you want to do?
Nothing proves that it's an enemy. Maybe they're just kinky. I think the rope proves that. So I start looking around for a rock to cut myself free while making high-pitched screeching noises, hoping my bat superhero friend hears me and comes to save the day.
Okay, you escape from the ropes easy enough. They really weren't that tightly bound. It's just with them carrying you, you were restrained. Anything else that you want to do?
I totally climb a tree.
There are no trees here, unfortunately. It's just swamp water and low bushes and the occasional patch of dry land.
Tops. My kryptonite.
She can pull a tree out of her bag.
I start digging around in the bag looking for anything.
Okay, let's make another persuasion check for you. You use your final use of this bag, and you pull out what is a gigantic battle axe. Something similar to what you use.
This is what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I start looking around for a log or something that'll float so that I can paddle my way out.
Okay. You spend the rest of your action looking around. There is nothing really to float you out. The water's not that deep. It's probably about waist high in some areas.
My sidekick, he's supposed to think of these things for me. I'm just brute strength, and I don't even have that.
Okay, and that brings us up to Brom.
Brom decides that he's had enough of Abelard running away and not helping out. So he turns to Grak and Ser Doran and says, I'm going to cast an illusion on myself. Don't be alarmed. And goes over to Abelard and says, guess what? I'm actually your sidekick. I'm in disguise. And then turns into Arthur.
I'm going through.
Brom turns into Arthur.
Okay. Do you
more into sex cults?
I was undercover.
You were under the covers.
Not all is what it seems.
How do I know you're really Arthur? I start poking him in the face to see if it squishes, to see if he's a clone from Dimension 14B again.
I don't believe it's a clone from Dimension 14B.
Squishes like a normal human.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you are Arthur. Where are your wings? You could fly us out of here.
That worm chopped them off. Help us defeat it.
Chopped them off, you say?
Yes.
You mean cut the straps?
Yes.
Start backing away.
Brom would like to roll bluff or deception.
Make a deception check for me, please.
Solid.
20.
That is a 20.
Okay, so Sucker, you're not like you are looking at the new Arthur who clearly
I knew I'd kill
admitted.
Grak today.
Hmm.
I knew I'd kill Grak today.
You were looking at Arthur, who's shed his disguise. He said something along the lines of, "Let's help destroy this creature." And you know what? After your little test, you believe him. It's definitely Arthur. And that's that. So that brings us to our next person.
Let us attack the pervert priest. We'll get rid of these monsters.
No, monster first.
What could be a bigger monster than the pervert priest? Ah, his penis god, where he draws all his power from. Fine. First the worm, then the priest.
Okay, and with that, the worm bursts out into the air, a decent enough away distance from you guys because he's still under the water, and it just rears back and breathes in. And Brom and Grax, I'm going to need you guys to make me dexterity saving throws as it just exhales this acid breath all over the both of you.
Brom rolls a 10.
Okay, that will not be enough. And Grax rolls a 15. So, Brom, you take 13 points of acid damage as this breath just exhales and you feel your skin bubbling and burning. Grax saves on it. He's able to dive out of the majority of it, which are half it. So that's 6 damage. He doesn't have that further because it is acid. It's not a basic damage. So, Grax, you're going to take 6 points of damage. And the worm is just standing there in the air. Ser Doran, you are
with my dive, could I have like gotten one step closer to it so I can take a swing at it because I was ready, or is that just too many bonus actions strung together?
Like in real life that makes sense, but in game terms it's not a thing. You just kind of perfectly dive in your square. Like you did 3 backflips and then landed in the same exact spot. Because that's how adventurers do it.
Yes.
Very
classy, though.
Yeah,
So,
every adventurer knows if you're dodging, it's a triple backflip straight into the air and then straight down.
A double gainer.
Yep. Ser Doran, what you want to do?
Doran picks his jaw up after watching what happened with Brom.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I've never seen that do that before, and looks at the purple worm as it shoots out of the earth, the swampy earth. Now, how the worm looks fairly hurt since it went under, or does it look like healed, or?
It doesn't look like it healed at all since that.
All right, so he's Doran's gonna hold this holy symbol in front of him again and unleash another guiding bolt.
Never expected to have to fight a purple yogurt slinger, but here we are.
And
Arthur, he has some explaining to do later.
Of course.
Cast at level 2 this time.
We're never
Your
gonna tell
last
your
guiding
secret
bolt
about
hit
this, are
him,
we?
so I believe that you even have an advantage on this roll if you need it, because it should be glowing, right?
Yeah.
And you do need it, so that's good.
Ugh, that doesn't know if that helps you very much. That's 6, so plus 6 is 12.
Unfortunately, this time it's ready for it, and it kind of dodges out of the way as the guiding bolt doesn't seem to find purchase.
All right, Doran will try to get himself onto some. Oh, this is. He'll just take like 1 step forward to get out of the muck onto the firmer ground, and that's it.
Okay, Grak, you up.
What would you like to do, Mr. Grak?
Grak, he's already not going to be. He's not going to be being. Not going to be reckless attacking. He's going to be frenzying. So he's going to get 2.
You could still reckless and frenzy if you wish. So do you want to make both of the attacks with advantage?
No, I'll just do the regular attacks,
Okay.
just so that he doesn't get advantage back on me.
No problem. So make 2 attacks with your weapon, please. First one is a 20 to hit. That definitely hits for 10 points of damage.
Ooh, and then a 17 for 23.
Yep. So 15.
He's gonna
second
wind
attack.
up, and he's gonna cry, "This is for all the ale!" as he attacks. Real high quality dwarven battle cries.
And I join in him with his battle cry because that's what I do. I give the battle cry, not in the face.
Okay, so that's a lot of damage. This thing is bleeding. It's not looking too hot. That brings us up to Abelard, aka Sucker. What do you want to do?
I am totally rushing back to help now.
Okay.
Wondering why Arthur is walking instead of flying.
No wings, man.
Wait, if you were in disguise, does that mean these others? No. They're the bad guys, right?
No, as I said, redemption quest.
We'll see about that later. I totally go charging in and take a swing at the worm with my battle axe, swinging it like a baseball bat.
Okay, let's see how your frailer than usual arms do.
Because, I mean, I'm expecting, and I scream to the moon as I swing on.
Not a bad swing.
Yeah, you scream to the moon, and it takes you a little bit of extra time to get it fully moving, but with some of the cuts that were opened up earlier and some of the scales which have fallen away, it just sinks right into the flesh, and you hear a sickening, like, and it's going to take 11 points of damage.
Ew, stinky.
A little bit of blood does splatter all over your blue outfit. That brings us up to Brom. What do you want to do, Brom?
Take a 5-foot step over so I have a nice clear shot at the thing, and I'm going to whip out a firebolt.
Okay.
Don't do it, Arthur. Fire is your weakness.
That's 17 to hit
17 to hit will hit.
for a measly 2 damage.
It hits it. It doesn't seem that it had the effect that you were looking for, though, unfortunately.
Damn it.
But yeah, it's just covered in all this dirty swamp water, kind of absorbed a lot of the damage of
I throw
sorts.
my hand in front of Arthur's eye so that he doesn't get attracted and go running into the flame.
And with that, the creature goes. It's not gonna quite disappear. It is going to start to move, though. Let me move this bad boy over here. And he is going to come up onto the land, and he's going to make 2 attacks. So he lands right in between you two. He'll attack Brom with the bite. He'll attack Ser Doran with the tail. First attack with the bite on Brom, I said right. 26 to hit.
That hits.
Yikers. Brom, I need you to make a dexterity save and throw for me, please.
You got it.
Not 1 for an 8. Okay, so the first thing, Brom, is you get bit. You're going to take 15 points of damage.
That hurts.
Yeah, Arthur. How are you looking right now, Brom?
4 points of life left.
Oh, God.
Bring it on.
So right now you were restrained. So it basically has you in its mouth, and it looks like it's getting ready to swallow you. You have no movement speed. You have no movement speed, and you're going to have disadvantage on your attack rolls against it as it holds you in the mouth. And then it's going to make its tail stinger attack against Ser Brom. Another 26, 2 17s. So that's going to hit you for 7 piercings, Ser Doran. And I need you to make... I'm sorry, for Doran.
Okay.
And I need you to make me a Constitution save, please. Yep.
Sure.
He already knows what's coming.
I rolled a 10, so it's a 12.
12. That is not enough. You feel this poison burning into the wound that the tail is sticking in. You are currently poisoned, which means you have disadvantage on your attack rolls and on your ability checks.
I'm not a fan of that.
That took a big swing to the ugly side there. Ser Doran, you were up, though. What do you want to do?
So Doran looks at his armor like it betrayed him as the stinger like just pierced into him, and looks at the worm. How high
If
up
we're
is
wearing
Brom?
super villain gear.
How high up is Brom?
Yeah, like would I be able to like touch Brom's leg? Would Doran be able to reach him for a heal?
Brom's currently on the ground. You could move underneath the worm. It's pretty big and pretty slidey. So if you wanted to kind of move under the worm to touch Brom. Oh, that's right. I'm lying. He is caught in its mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is
I
there,
do
like,
have a
dangly
couple
bits?
healing potions, so I might be able to take one of those. Might.
Yeah.
So it's like 3-4 feet in the air. You could step forward and try to touch him. It'd probably take like a sleight of hand check, pretty low DC, I'd say.
All right. So you know what, Ser Doran's going to stand his ground. And he's actually going to use Healing Word because he doesn't want to risk missing Brom as Brom struggles in the mouth of the beast.
Okay.
And I don't know why it rolled an attack check for that. But,
That's definitely
he'll cast it at level 2.
okay.
And there it goes.
10
Or
points
13.
of healing. 13 points of healing for Brom.
Thank you very much.
So with some magical words from the Priest of Lathander, some of your wounds close even though you're still trapped.
Yeah, and he
Grak.
puts his shield up in front of him and gets ready for another tail swipe.
You were up, Grak. What do you want to do?
Grak is gonna step closer and swing for like its head, like behind the neck, to sort of like crack it, or
Okay.
turn it to little tiny pieces
Worms
of
have
bloody
necks?
nastiness.
Okay. And you
Oh,
are
Well, it's got something that he can hit.
flanking him.
So it's rage and frenzy.
Yep. So you'll make 2 attacks with advantage.
So it's
'cause
2
you're
attacks.
flanking it.
And
Yep.
So the first one was a 14 for a 20.
Okay. For 9 points of damage. The thing's looking rough.
And the second one was a 6 for a 12.
That will not hit. So the first one strikes clean, but as the worm starts bucking up in pain, the second strike just hits the scale and bounces off. But this thing, it looks like it's getting ready to retreat, and Brom's currently in its mouth. So, Sucker, you're up. What do you want to do?
I am going to take a flying leap, and this time I'm going to scream, "In your face!" And I'm going to jump up on its face and try and save my sidekick. Battle axe in hand.
Okay.
It's a leaping barbarian pose.
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm
you're
going to do
making
a
a swing.
heroic leap into its mouth.
Are you trying to get Brom out, or are you trying to
I'm
attack
trying to
it?
get Brom out
Okay.
while doing damage.
Let me
If,
make
you know-
a check for that.
What could possibly
First
go
thing a
wrong?
superhero
Yeah,
knows is you
let's
gotta
see.
save
Oh
your
my God.
sidekick.
So you jump onto its head. You're trying to pull Brom out, but it starts shaking. You're barely holding on, but your weak little kid arms aren't strong enough to open up its mouth. But you are
I
currently
tighten my grip with my teeth.
you can definitely bite into a little bit of its flesh. Yes,
And hold
Um,
on tight.
you are holding on tight for your dear life.
I'll save you!
For your dear life, Brom. What do you want to do?
So I'm
This tastes
trapped.
so bad. It's worse than it hurts.
Brom is trapped in this ooey, icky, smelly, slimy horribleness with his bogus.
Mm-hmm.
Who's sitting there just like I'm inside a mouth, but I have a mouth. So the bogus would like to attack.
Of course.
Okay. You can even make a disadvantaged bow attack as well.
All right. Is it disadvantage for the bogus?
No, it could be a normal attack for the bogus.
Just got so much opportunity to bite stuff in there.
Exactly. Disadvantage attack. I mean, the bogus doesn't hit with a 10, I presume.
No. It starts
But-
biting, but it just starts biting one
From
of the creature's
inside?
teeth.
Yes. That is a 17 to hit.
The 17 will hit, though. You're getting ready to fire. The bow bites out first. It just bites onto a fang. Kind of has the mouth open with the bow,
That's
and
right,
then
Bo! You get him! You get him, Bo!
and you fire a shot straight
Much
into
better
it.
than the
It's
wings,
looking.
actually.
It's looking like it's on death's door, but it's barely up. It's squealing. It's in pain. And do me a
Brom
favor.
is also squealing, but in disgust.
Make me a acrobatics or athletics check to try to escape its bite real quick.
Acrobatics it is. That would be a 16.
16. What's the DC? That is the exact thing you needed. So with that,
Good job, little buddy!
you shoot it in the mouth. It screams out. You're able to quickly roll out, and it drops you. And now it's going to start its escape route away from you, evil meals. But
Aren't
it's
I
on
still
its
holding
way out.
on?
Yes, you are still on top of it currently. I'll bring you over there. Ser Doran, you're up. What do you want to do? So you see Abelard, the person
I'm
who
totally...
Yeah.
the person who you are
Through my
How-
sent to
clenched
protect
teeth with
is
the
now.
slime pouring out of my mouth as I'm struggling to hold on.
Dorn is tempted to just let
What you
this
get for
worm ride
attacking
off
my
into the
side
sunset
kick?
with Abelard and just take this problem away from him. But
Not sure what Rue is, but you will rue this day.
he's not really sure what to do about this situation. So the only thing he can do is just try to blast it one more time as it flees away from him.
Okay.
So this time he will use his magic missile attack. Since he doesn't have to
And
roll
that's
to
going to
hit.
be an automatic hit.
Oh yeah, for a whopping 4 force damage.
Okay. How many magic missiles does that shoot out at level 1? 3, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the first one. Yep. And I'll do the other 2. 4, 2, and 3 for a combined 9 force damage.
Okay, that's much better. So explain to me how these 3 magic missiles kill this creature as Sucker's on top of it, riding it
So-
to the ground.
Yeah, a sucker's just riding away on the back of this thing. There's all kinds of wounds and there's gaps in its armor and skin. The bolts are just homing in on the back of the worm, and they just seem to find their mark in like an opening in its carapace each time, striking it until it just collapses with the blue suited Abelard on its back, dropping him in the muck.
So, Sucker, it seems that your bite is what brought this creature down as you ride it to the
I knew it.
ground. You're absolutely sure, without a doubt, that bite vanquished this terrible villain.
The only
and it
thing I
goes
could
still
see.
under
Nothing
you.
else attacked him, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He was waiting until I stepped in.
Yeah, and that brings us out of combat right now. So you guys, I'll just assume that you will get back together a small bit. I'll move, and I'll do that guy there, and then move Abelard here. So as you guys are nursing your wounds, is there anything that you want to do or talk about really
I'm
quickly?
spitting it nonstop.
Dorn is going to start tending to people's wounds, spreading some healing around. When he gets to Brom still looks like
Arthur.
Arthur, all in white. At first, he looks like he's going to say something, just shakes his head and mutters like, "Why am I not surprised by any of this?" And cures wounds on Brom, and then just moves on to the next one. and like just shakes his head in like disbelief or dismay, whichever one of those you would think.
Brom leans in and says, "Spell dissipates in about 12 hours. Don't worry about it."
I don't know
Start
if I can
wiping
handle
my mouth with my bag.
2 people in spandex at the same time. I don't know.
Okay,
Right.
so you take some time. You guys heal up what you can in the field with the bandages. You guys are
Perverted
still.
priest. Healing my sidekick is a good step on the path to redemption, but there are many more. I
You
will
heard
forgive
the
you for
superhero.
now.
Oh boy.
Mhm. So as you guys are having this conversation, you guys notice that the worm starts to move again. It seems like even though it's been sitting there for like half an hour or so, it starts moving and twitching, and it starts launching itself at you guys again, super quick this time. It seems like all the injuries it had doesn't really matter. It seems like the skin is just kind of peeling away as it starts wiggling at you guys. And as it probably gets about like 10 feet from you guys, it kind of rears up and it starts inhaling again. And you know what that means, that the acidic breath is coming back. And it just breathes in, and right before it comes, the worm starts coughing a small bit. It's like, and then it just kind of screams out, "Ouch!" in common. And you're like, what the hell? Like, this worm is talking? And then, even though the worm's mouth is not quite moving, and like flesh is coming off it, and you're seeing a lot of its skeleton, because everyone knows that big worms have skeletons and bones, and that's canon.
It's canon now.
Before anybody questions that, because it's clearly that's how worms are in these plans. You hear a voice that's coming out of it, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's just like, ouch. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I got control. Sorry about that, everyone. I know that this big beast was going to go down. He's been terrorizing by lands for a long time. Super happy that you guys took it down. My name is Grab It, and you guys see the worm
That's
bow.
what we do. We're superheroes.
That's right. Brom takes a good pose along with Sucker in a very like superhero and sidekick.
And the worm says, "My name is Grab It," and the worm bows, and you hear this voice that comes out of the worm that says, "I could only assume that you four are the ones that Odessa told me about. She said you guys would be coming here. Apologize about the swampy lands. If you will allow me, hop onto this worm and we'll escort you all the way to my tent." And at this point, you guys have seen that all of the like flesh and organs.
I don't believe
and
I want to
muscles-
ride the penis god of the pervert priest, thank you.
He's like, "It's nothing to do with penises or gods or priests. Just a regular old worm skeleton, like everything else here. You guys could hop inside, kind of like hold on top and put your feet on some of the bottom bones. It's all big rib cage, and I'll bring you guys to my tent a little bit faster. What do you say?"
Brom's in, hops on top.
Arthur, are you sure? Are you sure about this?
Listen, I have a good feeling about this.
Are you sure it's not just because he was
Famous
covered in
last
fire
words.
earlier?
No. I am not sure.
It's not the flames attracting you, my little moth friend.
No.
Okay, let's go.
So
Hey, hop on back.
you all get into some part of this worm's skeleton, whether on the inside or on top, and it starts to kind of wiggle
I'm
through.
totally on top.
Yeah, and you guys are traveling
Probably.
so much faster now than what you guys were in the past. And what would have
Onward,
probably taken
noble
you?
speed.
What would have probably taken you another like 24 hours of traveling through this slow swampland, and like 3 hours, you guys are approaching this big hill there. And you guys, as you approach this
Wasn't
big
a
hill,
foe, it was a test of our courage.
Yep. You guys see an elf who's standing on the top of the hill. And the hill itself, it's probably like 300 feet wide, a big circle. It's got like a small tent, small campfire, small hides that are being tanned. And the worm slows down and kind of sets its head down so you could all walk across it and get onto dry land. And as you guys see this elf, you see that the side of his face is partially exposed, showing a bunch of teeth and the gum line, and you see a lot of the jawbone.
Oh, that's not good.
But the rest of him looks intact.
I want to doctor to look at that.
And he's wearing clothing that's made of animal skins. And he just he gives a small bow, and he's like, "Welcome, all, welcome. Sorry for the appearance of my camp, for the appearance of myself, for the appearance of my new worm. I'm not very used to having visitors, but you guys are welcome nonetheless. Let's get straight to business. I hear you got a problem. You need to talk to spirits. How can I help you guys?"
I put my hands over Arthur's eyes. Don't look, little buddy. Start trying to walk forward so I can kick dirt on top of the fire.
Brom just plays into it, raises his hand, and starts saying, the flame, they are so beautiful. I want to go to them.
No, little buddy,
Let me go.
No. Told you about this. I spin him around and run forward, and I kick dirt on the fire.
Easy
Meanwhile,
enough.
Brom just leans into Grak and Doran and says, I'm getting into this sidekick business. I should do it more often.
Once the flames are out, okay, it's okay, little buddy. It's okay. You can sit down now. We've had a hard day. Ow. Which way to the city?
Right here. This is the way to the city. This is a wizard, and he can take us back to the city once we do what we're supposed to do here.
A wizard.
Yeah, Dorn doesn't
Start looking around for the curtain.
Dorn doesn't know what to do with this guy. Seeing the rotten face, or probably hasn't seen anything like that other than on an undead. But I guess he was kind of warned that this was not going to be like the normal situation. So after thinking to volunteer to help heal him, he kind of second guesses that, just kind of keeps his mouth shut. And just shakes his head at the situation again. But yeah. Eventually he speaks up and he's like, "Yeah, we need some help with the blue-clad one back there."
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm a superhero. I'm fine.
And we would definitely be happy for any guidance that you can help with this situation.
He's like, yes. I heard from Odessa that this creature is filled with spirits. Like a lot of spirits.
Lots.
I am very spirited, yes.
Yes. And oh my god. So oh god. See, I specialize in death. I specialize in rebirth. I specialize in life. I specialize in the balance of nature. I'm very talented in talking to spirits. I can help you guys out.
I think he's a hippie.
Stuff like this, it's very difficult magic if you don't specialize in it. I could have you. What was your name? Any points to you, Ser Doran?
Doran.
Oh yes. You're the holy one, right? I could have you cast it, but it's going to take all of your companions to work with you to do it. It's going to take a great toll on all of you guys, and a lot of teamwork is going to be needed for this. How well do you guys know each other and trust each other? Just saying, if you weren't
biblically, if that's what you're trying to imply.
I'm just worried that if you don't trust each other that much, you don't know each other that much, that you may die and have your souls ripped out. So on a scale of 1 to very trustworthy, how do you guys feel about each other?
Oh, this was a terrible idea.
Yeah, we shouldn't have come
quickly
here.
put Arthur behind me.
What's below a 1?
Hippies?
What's below a 1?
I think
you
it's
4. You 4. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to cook you all dinner. You guys are going to rest a small bit. And then I'm going to put you guys on a little bit of a vision quest to kind of solidify your bonds, a little bit of companion bonding, a little bit of things that I won't discuss now. But okay.
Are we
so
allowed to opt out?
only if you never want to be able to contact the spirits, and only if you want your friends' souls to be sucked out and they probably die.
Oh, all right.
Are we sure this isn't Mr. Mental?
Yes.
You were wearing a disguise. Maybe this is Mr. Mental in a disguise.
He's like, you may check me for disguises. Just watch the ribs. I'm really ticklish.
I totally flip him over and try and shake him by his ankles.
You do that. Like a tiny piece of flesh or two comes out, but you are clear he's not in a disguise, and you are clear he's not
Okay.
instrumental.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh, don't do that,
might be
please.
trustworthy.
Okay, so he serves you all food. This food you see is fresh venison, in case anybody was worried about the quality of meat that he would be serving. But you will have a nice but plain dinner, and then he sits you all down, and he's like, so look, I need you all to sit in a circle. Do you know how to do that? Are you a big kid?
Kumbaya.
Um,
Kumbaya. Come on. Arthur, sing with me.
Oh,
Kumbaya.
No.
so as
Arthur,
you,
in fact, looks very nervous.
so as you are, as you were all
Yeah?
sitting in a circle,
That what the hippies do? Thought
you,
he'd fit right in.
I was going to say, you guys, he passes out a bunch of these big, vibrant green and purple and orange mushrooms. And
So we're
he's
supposed
like,
to eat these, right?
yes?
Wait, didn't they tell us not to eat the mushrooms before we came here?
Who would tell you that? That's silly. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm pretty sure the person who sent us here told us to not eat the mushrooms.
I'm pretty sure Grak the entire day has just been eyeing the mushrooms, telling us how pretty and edible they look. So I'm willing to go for it.
It would be
I
rude to
remember-
refuse food.
I remember the
Mhm.
priestess very clearly saying mushrooms. I'm pretty certain she said to eat the mushrooms.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
but
going to
that's,
say that with lots of confidence that the mushrooms are
Good,
important.
because I've already eaten it.
Doran is 100% certain he was told to not eat the mushrooms, but seeing no way forward is agreeing with the plan because obviously there's no other way this is happening.
Tastes better than that worm did.
Oh,
That's very true. The
Probably
taste
good
of
as the rope.
mushrooms cleans the palate of all swamp water and worm and worm blood. So you guys all partake of the mushrooms, and after like 10 minutes, you guys start to get a little bit fuzzy, and you guys see the gravity is circling
I'm
around you
sitting
guys.
around just petting my face, rubbing
Mhm.
my antenna.
You guys are all you are holding hands, and he's chanting around you guys, and you guys seem to kind of zone out of sorts. And what's going to happen here, to explain from a mechanical standpoint, you guys are going to all sort of go into a dream state, and we're going to go through everyone's dreams one by one. Hopefully I'll have time to get through them all. So the dreams that you're going to see are going to be one player at a time, and you're going to kind of see the dreams in third person. So as we're going to start with Ser Doran. So you're going to see Ser Doran in the dream, but then you four are going to also be standing behind him, able to communicate amongst yourselves. And
Better than the last time I ate mushrooms.
yeah, and as we go through, there will be times for you to talk, and there's times for you guys to listen only, and there will be times when only Ser Doran, for example, if it is his dream, can respond.
I thought this only happened when you licked toads. You told me it was only toads.
And as you guys are in the dream, some things are going to be clear, the things that he's been focused on in real life, and some things are blurry, things that he really wasn't paying attention to. And you guys, if you're going to ask questions, just ask them about what's going on currently and not really the future, because we may get to that at some point. So let's start with, let me just switch this to the map.
I distract myself just by doing this over and over again. Just
so many
waving my
flavors
hand back
of
and
grass.
forth in front of my face.
Okay, so we are going to start with
Can't tell if they're working.
Ser Doran. Okay, so the opening scene of Ser Doran is you ending another successful sermon with record attendance in your church, and you're turning over the collections that you gathered to the head cleric. One of the elder brothers of your order starts making a comment such as like, I can't wait to see what choice cuts of meat we get from the butcher this week, and oh brother, the wine that we could purchase with these collections, only the best elven reds from now on. And even one brother, you kind of hear whispering to himself, but it's clearly audible to you. He says, maybe I could get a companion on one of these lonely nights. So as you guys are watching this, Ser Doran, how does this make you feel?
Doran gets very uncomfortable, especially with the cavalier attitude the other priests are having. He knows like how hard his followers work for their money. They're like everyday people, you know, they're peasants, they're farmers, people who are coming here to pay tribute to their god. And he knows that they're expecting this money to, you know, help the church and bring good to people. He knows that the area of the city is desperate, and he can't seem to see the light of Lathander by going on this path.
As this scene plays out, did you say anything to them at the time, or did you stay quiet?
Doran kind of stays quiet. He kind of sets his resolve. He's kind of been lost in the bureaucracy of the church, and feels like there's no other like way to do what he feels is the right thing. Like that, going higher, the corruption only gets worse. And
I guess around this point, at some point in your life, you decided to start to siphon some of the money off. What was the final straw that made you decide to take this course of action? Just seeing week after week, seeing that hard-earned money going to nicer robes, the different carnal pleasures, just not what he believes, Doran believes is the true path of Lathander. He and begins to immediately start taking bigger and bigger portions to put towards some side projects. You know, he's helping the
origin story of the villain.
Yeah, he's and then he wants to help the children, so by puts together some funds to open an orphanage.
Okay. You guys are seeing this all play out, and somehow, even though it's not said, you get hints of what he just commented on these personal questions I just asked him. You sort of get the feeling and intent. Do you guys have any questions for him as this is unraveling, or?
This is what led you down the dark path, wasn't it?
Brom kind of puts a hand over Sucker's mouth and says, "Shh, we're in a church."
Also, Ser Doran and whoever's in part of their dream, if you want to kind of like not answer their questions, which I'm sure some of you may want to, just say like pass, and we'll move on to the next scene, because I'm sure between the four of you, it's going to be some awkward stuff that you want to save until the end. Okay, so that scene, it just kind of fades out and a new scene comes in. You guys are in the bright sunlight of the open air. A newly renovated orphanage is standing a few blocks away from the Temple of Lathander. The holes in the walls and ceilings have been repaired. A few stray cots have been added to the inside rooms, and a fresh shipment of simple foods are being delivered as we speak. Ser Doran is actually on hand overseeing the delivery of the food, and a woman in her 50s steps into the scene, and a huge smile comes across her face as she sees Ser Doran in the doorway. "Oh, Ser Doran, thank you so much. You were too generous, and you probably saved at least 20 kids from dying in the streets this month alone. Kids, Ser Doran is here!" And you guys see a bunch of kids start running up, and they're all like touching his tabard and smiling to him. At this point, Ser Doran's outfit is tight. It's matching colors. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's fresh. It's wrinkle-free. And he kind of like
superhero costume.
he kind of squirms a small bit as the kids touch it with their dirty hands, but he tries not to let it show. And even these two kids, probably no older than 7, they hand you a drawing that they made. It's of you saving all of the orphanage in its own kid version. And they're using it with some of the parchment that you donated to help them learn how to read and write. So now, seeing this, how do you feel about how this orphanage is coming along?
Oh, Doran feels like he's fulfilling his purpose finally. You know, he feels like this is what, you know, he's been put on this earth for, you know, working, you know, bringing the light of Lathander to, you know, the people who really need the blessing. And it's like he feels like at peace with what he's doing. Like everything he's doing is worth it.
And do you feel at all conflicted knowing that you're stealing from the church of a god that you made a vow to?
At first, yes, probably. But then as time went on, you could see how much good it was doing, especially, you know, for the people, and how much little was being done for them before. It like washes away any doubt he had that he was doing something wrong.
Okay. As this scene is kind of playing out, are there any questions that you want to ask Ser Doran, who is remembering this, who's standing with you guys?
Is the service over?
No.
Brom or Grak, is there anything that you guys want to ask of Ser Doran at this time, or?
Brom kind of wanders up and says, "So how did it all go wrong?"
I bet that's what we're going to see next.
A big sense of unauthorized question has been asked. Asked of the future, not allowed. Okay, so as the scene kind of fades out, and it fades out slowly, you guys see not so much Ser Doran, but unknown to Ser Doran at this time, 2 of his brothers are watching him from a distance, about like 3 blocks away, wondering what he's doing visiting a filthy orphanage with all those street rats around him. And then it transitions to a new scene.
This is where he turns to the dark side.
And you guys see another week's sermon. And this sermon has record attendance. But this time, the brothers all get together and they decide to help you count the collections this week due to the outstanding overpacked mass which you had. And one of them says, Ser Doran, oh my God, this is like double what we've been getting from your past 4 sermons. I missed it, but what did you say today in Mass to collect so much money? And now you know that you've been having these collections recently, but you've been skimming off for the orphanage. How do you respond with these 4 brothers kind of staring at you?
Doran tries to respond kind of nonchalantly, like, "Oh, they must have just had a bonus. You know, there was the big festival. I'm sure that everyone's just feeling more generous than normal. And he's doing a very bad job of lying because he kind of feels like he shouldn't need to lie about this, so he just comes up with something off the top of his head."
Oh, okay. So about a few more weeks go by, and then you get a knock on your door in the morning, and one of the church's apprentices comes up and says, Ser Doran, I believe that all the brothers will be having a meeting at high noon if you would attend in the meeting chambers. So you show up probably about 15 minutes early, but when you get there, it seems like everybody's already sitting and in attendance. Something a little bit unusual, as everyone usually strolls in late, but it seems that some of the brothers are kind of looking at you with anger. Some of them are kind of looking down at their feet, unwilling to make eye contact with you. And the head cleric, as you enter, he says, Ser Doran, I think you know why you were here, do you not? And the head cleric goes by the name of David James. He looks at you with a calm look on his face, and you recognize that's the face he puts on when he's ready to put on a performance for the people who are attending one of his sermons. And he says, Ser Doran, you have stolen from the church and from the holy chosen clerics of Lathander. We have come to some decisions. We have come to some decisions regarding your actions and crimes. While your crimes are easily worthy of excommunication from the order, it seems your popularity, both in your sermons and around town, for some of your more generous actions would probably cause too much of a stir for our church. So we've decided to help further your image along in your quest to be a hero. It seems that there's a small force gathering to attack some necromancer while he's vacationing in his summer home, and you will join them as a representative of Lathander. You will get your wish to be a big hero of the people, and if you survive, I mean, when you return victorious, we'll let you do whatever you wish and be the hero that you are trying so hard to be.
This is
So
where
as-
his redemption arc starts. Got it.
So as they proclaim this to you, how do you feel about this, and would you say anything to them?
So first, Doran's totally gutted. He feels like everything he's worked for is unraveling, and like this is a death sentence for him. He's failed at combat. He's he doesn't have combat prowess at all, but he kind of steels himself and feels like he's in the right. So he just kind of looks at them all, and just tries to be as resolute as possible, saying, you've all strayed far from the Morning Lord's light. I'll prove that I'm doing the work of Lathander, and just tries to stand proud.
Okay. So that scene fades, or as it's fading, do you guys have any questions for Ser Doran at this time?
I'll walk up and I clap a hand on his shoulder and say, "That explains it all. We're raised by those dirty priests, and now you're getting away from it. This is the start. This is the real start of your redemption quest. Don't worry, we'll make a superhero of you yet again."
Okay. What were you to say,
Brom just kind of walks up and says, "Damn it! Now I like you."
Thanks, I think.
Do you give Ser Doran kissy face eyes, or just...
No, just kind of a
Okay.
pat on the back. Clearly, this is like the end of the world for Brom.
Okay, so now we phase a little bit into the distant future. You go see Ser Doran, who is surrounded by undead. You know that they're in the middle of this necromancer battle. The fighting is fierce, and there are many people who are trying to engage the necromancer directly, but a lot of them are just dying and then being turned immediately into undead to fight against their fellow warriors. During this fight, Ser Doran, what would you be doing, and where would you be?
So Doran would most likely start towards the back, knowing that he's not cut out for combat. But as things get more and more dire, he kind of builds up more and more confidence, and just realizes he has to do something. And so as the combat's kind of ebbing and flowing, and more and more magic's being thrown about, he kind of panics and is going to start forcing his way to the front to try to help in any way that he can.
Okay, so you start to step forward, and it looks like the battle's kind of reaching a crescendo of sorts. And the necromancer, he's killing people. He has a lot of shields up. He's looking a little bit panicked, and like a last-ditch move, he channels this huge spell, and you see this beam of black, evil, necrotic energy. Just looking at it makes you feel nauseous, and it strikes directly into the chest of one person, and boom, the body doesn't even fall down. It just ignites from the inside and instantly turns undead, and then it shoots to another body. It's like chain lightning, but with this evil undead necrotic energy, and just boom, undead, boom, and it's spreading, it's expanding out. It looks like things are very dire. Now, you had a part in stopping this. What did you do, or what did you say? How did you stop this chain reaction from spreading?
So Doran just kind of, he just prays. He prays to his Lathander to help save the faithful. And he actually just kind of sheds the remnants of his life in the church he breaks his holy symbol in half and just says, Lathander, if I'm doing your work, show me that there's still good in this world. And this divine holy aura just encompasses him in something he shouldn't be able to do. I mean, especially at his at his level or his prowess, and it kind of circles around those 30-foot radius of him, but almost selectively, it only chooses those that the light feels worthy and spares them, while the others continue to just get smoked by magic.
Okay, so you guys start to watch Ser Doran pray, literally on his knees, screaming to Lathander. In the process, whether on purpose or just by some sort of divine intervention, the holy symbol breaks in half, and you guys see Ser Doran light up in this golden, bright, radiant energy, and it starts off as a 30-foot circle, saving people, stopping the chain reaction from getting bigger. And then the circle grows and it pulses out slowly until it's encompassing at least a 300-foot circle. And the chain reaction, as it hits the edge of the shield, it starts dying out. You guys hear this chorus of angels of sorts slightly on the wind, and this chain reaction that's just causing these people to be corrupted dies. A few of the people who were turned undead, once this golden energy hits them, a bolt out of Ser Doran's chest hits them and just converts them back to their original form, although a lot of the undead stay in their form and just fall down dead. And with that, the battle dies out, and you guys see the Necromancer just boom. He claps his hands, he teleports out, his shield falls, and the battlefield falls dead. So now the battle's ended, the Necromancer escaped, and everyone is congratulating you. It's a weird twist of fate to be celebrated for yourself and for your religion. You're escorted to the army commander's tent, who wishes to see you, and as you get there, you see that other members of your church are present. In fact, other members of your church who weren't a part of the battle. And you actually overhear the head cleric, David James, stating, "Yes, Commander, this was our plan. Everyone challenging the power of Lathander through Ser Doran to make sure we were able to contain this threat. And with my guidance, he did great. And yes, we would be more than willing to continue our support by sending him on this mission to help free this apprentice of his power issue that he's currently having. So you've just been volunteered to accompany Abelard. What do you have any words for it or things that you want to say?
Do you have any more of that popcorn?
Yeah. So Doran's feeling like some affirmation about what he was doing is right, and he just has this righteous indignation about the priests in the church that are sending him on here. He just gives this look at him and just says, "Lathander protects his faithful and smites those who exploit his favor," and just leaves, turns around and leaves.
Okay. Any questions for Ser Doran at the end of his memories?
Grak is going to give him, he doesn't have anything to say, but he's going to give him that nod of respect or recognition.
Brom kind of just leans in and says, "If you ever want me to kill that priest, you say the word, my friend."
Good semantics.
Yeah. Doran knows that the nod is the best you can get out of a dwarf, so he's ecstatic, that's the bro nod is the best. So.
It's rarely given out in dwarven culture. Okay, and with that, the scene fades. You will guys see blackness for a second, and then you guys feel yourself sort of being pulled into Grak's consciousness. Let me start up this. I remember to put it on repeat this
Why
time.
do I feel so short?
Yes, we're all standing at dwarf height.
Bigger.
Okay, so as you guys are all looking around the scene,
Everything smells like ass now.
takes form, and you guys see Grak, who's sitting and waiting in a cave with a goat that's fur. What do goats have? Not fur.
I mean,
Fleece.
I'm pretty sure it's
Their
fur.
fleece, yes.
Oh,
The
yeah.
goat's fleece is golden, which is why it's called the golden fleece goat. And you may have heard Grak refer to this creature in the past as the golden fleece goat Barbara Bessie Burpington III. And next to Grak is three other, let's just say, less than skilled dwarves that are there to help him protect it. The room that you guys are in, it's well protected. It's a room, it only has a single entry point that you were all standing in front of, and it's far apart from any real action. You guys
I've
are in the
seen
middle
this
of being,
movie. You gotta watch out for the archaeologist.
you guys are in the middle of being invaded by goblins. And as far as this goes, it's not a very noble posting during an invasion, because it's not like any goblins are really going to be able to fight through everyone to get here. So, Grak, what are you thinking or feeling as you're sitting here away from all of the combat where you belong?
Well, Grak is sharpening his axe, preparing to chop off some goblin heads, and he hears the other guards kind of complaining. He's like, I understand you want to be closer to the combat, but our job here is important, assigned to us by the king, King Thrak himself. And it might not seem like a glamorous role where we're going to earn glory and fame and our names sung in the songs around the drinking table, but at the end of the day, our kingdom depends on Bessie Barbara Burpington III for commerce. So it's our job to keep her alive at any cost.
Okay. They, being their lazy natures, which is very unusual for a dwarf, they look at you with a little bit of like, but there's a lot of respect in their eyes at the same time. And you guys hear sounds of fighting far in the distance, but you start to feel a few minor vibrations in the stone. Now, these tiny vibrations, unnoticeable to any other race, are as loud as distant explosions to someone of your heritage. As you try to start to locate where they're coming from, in the back of the cave where Bessie is, a section of wall just kind of crumbles apart, and a horde of goblins come swarming in. Very unexpected, because who the hell would expect goblins to freaking mine their way into the back of the caves? But what commands do you give to the other guards, and what do you try to do?
Well, Grak is a barbarian and he's a berserker, so he's not going to give commands. He's just going to rush straight into battle, because that's what he does. As soon as he sees goblins, he charges with his axe swinging. It's been freshly sharpened, you green-skinned bastards. And he starts swinging away.
Okay, and I mean, they come pouring in, and you four are quickly overwhelmed. The goblins are numbering over 50. And you and the other dwarves are fighting for your lives, with at least 30 goblins between you and Barbara Bessie Burpington III, the golden police goat that you guys were stationed to protect. You guys see them wrap a rope around its neck and start dragging her down this tunnel, which they came through, which they dug. And you could actually see the outside light shining bright through their tunnel, exposing the mountain edge. It seems that they tunneled in to the mountain with this target in mind as the real target of the battle. So as you see Bessie being drug out, what do you do? Or are you just in like a mindless rage at this point?
Yeah, Grak is going to try to cut through, because he knows that his one job is to protect the goat, the gold yard goat, and he can't fail King Thrak. He's already been through so much. He's already put up with so much shit from the king, and he finally gets an assignment that could be important, turns out to be important, and he's going to fail. So he's just trying to hack his way through to get to the goat.
Any questions so far as you guys are sitting back? Like, you guys are watching Grak, his spirit form, and it looks like he's ready to hop in and start killing goblins as well as his actual self. Are there any questions which you have for him at this point, or?
This seems perfectly on par.
Yeah, Brom unexpectedly is like cheering Grak on and is like into this. It's like a spectator sport.
You guys, the other three dwarves aren't doing great, but Grak is just massacring. And you guys see, like, so Grak, you see him dig deep into his anger and his rage, and everything goes red in his eyes, and he's slaughtering goblins left and right. It seems that 2 goblins fall per big swing of his mighty battle axe. For every cut he takes on the arms or chest or leg, 2 more goblins lose their life. And it seems that at this point, seeing Grak, the goblins are in a full panic retreat, and they're just running at full speed, the rope around Barbara's neck, dragging her out of the tunnel. And goblins, not being the smartest of the creatures, are running a little bit too quickly, and they're not thinking that they got to immediately turn left onto the path out of the tunnel that they dug, but instead they run way too fast in the panic of seeing Grak approach them, and they run directly off the cliff on the edge of the mountain. And you guys see Barbara start to be dragged over the edge. And Grak could make a leap for her at the last second, but she tumbles over the edge with the other goblins. This makes your vision go even redder, and all that you remember after the slaughter of whatever goblins remain, because they were the only outlet of your anger, but like that is the final conscious thought that you have as you go into the deepest of rages. And eventually your wounds are going to overtake you, and you guys see Grak fall unconscious as the final goblin is slaughtered. And then you guys see later Grak, he wakes up to a scene of 2 barbarians that start to bandage him up, and he's just surrounded by dead goblins, a pool probably half an inch thick of goblin blood. And unfortunately, the other 3 guards who were stationed with him are dead on the ground, overcome by the goblin swarm. So what's the first thing that you do as you wake up and take all of this in, Grak?
I'm going to check the pulses of my fellow guards to see if they're actually dead, or if I can get them to the shaman in time for healing.
It seems that they are currently dead. A few of your other dwarves are in here, and they're attending to everybody, but as you approach them, they're just like, laddie, he's dead. It's too late. And with this, you guys see this slightly stockier and slightly taller as far as dwarves go enter with this helmet. In fact, I'll show you what the helmet looks like. I don't know if I can get my head set on with this. Clearly the helm of a king.
Oh, yeah.
And Grak, you see your father, Thrak Ironforge, and king of the Ironforge clan. He walks in, smiling at the sight of so many dead goblins, although that smile fades a little bit, seeing some of his kin on the ground, not moving, but knowing that that is the cost of battle. And then he just bellows out, "Well done, Grak!" And there's this huge smile plastered on his face, looking directly at you. And you haven't felt this happy in a long time, finally seeing some positive emotion out of your father. And he looks at you with this big smile, and then he's like, "Where'd you hide, Barbara Bessie Burpington III?" How do you answer that?
And Grak is like from the sort of the high point of his life to the like absolute deflated, and he says, I tried. There were too many of them." And he can see by the trail of goblin bodies kind of where everything went and what happened.
So he looks around and he turns red, you could assume with anger, and you hear him muttering to himself, but out loud enough that most people could hear it. "I should have never gotten that drunk and banged that beep." Censored for PG-13 families. And then he kind of screams out, "I can't believe you lost a golden goat, boy. You shamed this clan and you shamed my name for trusting in you, boy. You're henceforth banished from these lands until you've proven yourself worthy through deed and through action, under penalty of death if you return still a fool. Escort him out of the mountain now." And with that, any questions for Grak so far?
Holy shit.
Yeah. If Grak looks to you three, what kind of expressions does he see on your faces?
Like heartfelt, like sorrow, I guess. for him to see that like crushing defeat he just suffered morally after that?
Yeah, somewhere between like heartfelt sympathy for disappointing a family member and absolute glee from Brom.
On my face, he sees popcorn and admiration.
Stuck on popcorn.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, what was I gonna say? So this is maybe about a month later, Grak, and the scene changes, and you see yourself wandering around Wisp's Haven, walking through these streets, battle axe in hand, really unsure what to do with yourself. And you guys see a small table set up with two of the town guard trying to recruit people and calling out. And you're like, "Hey, you, young, strong Master Dwarven warrior, how about signing up for the town's army? What do you say?"
I'm on a mission to find something important, and I've no time to enlist in your little army.
Oh, come on, my friend. Don't you know that battle is the only way to make a name for yourself? The glory, the riches, having your name sung in the tales of bards. You can become a hero throughout all of the lands. All will know you, and all will know your greatness. For never has a dwarf as strong and mighty and noble as yourself joined this army. What do you say? Do you want to bask in the glory and let everyone know of your accomplishments? And you see he's embellishing it thick, like Brom and Ser Doran and Sucker. You guys, it's clearly a pitch that a lot of recruiters make, but Grak's a little bit emotional at this point. So what do you do, Grak?
Yeah, Grak is hearing it about not about the name or the reputation, but like thinking about the honor. There's no worry about glory, riches, wenches, but it's about redeeming his honor. So he's like, as long as this is for a cause that is noble and just, you have my axe.
Okay. They sign you up. They get you in. You spend like a week in training. During that time, during your training, you are excelling. It seems like a lot of the people who've signed up really have no combat experience, but you were not only a trained dwarf who is a natural warrior, but you're also a berserker. And sometimes you go a little bit too hard, get a little bit too crazy, but they definitely find a use for you, and they end up putting you on the front lines as far as this battle goes. So now we're going to cut to the actual battle itself with the Necromancer. And they're kind of battle lines drawn as the sides of good are slowly advancing on this Necromancer. But again, for every soldier who falls, an undead immediately pops up in his place. So it's a lot of slow going. And you, Grak, you find yourself fighting your way through the undead. And as you're doing it on the front lines, you find a group of people, probably like 6 or so, that are sneaking around the back of the battle. Looks like they're trying to get into the back of the Necromancer's summer home. So now you got to decide, do you just want to keep fighting these mindless minions on the front line, or do you want to try to find a way to do something greater?
Well, so I'm pretty close to the Necromancer. Or because I'm on the front lines, I'm fighting through the waves of the undead, and I see that the Necromancer is within axe throwing range. And this axe that I have, it's something that I took from the Iron Mountains, and it's the last piece of my dwarven heritage that I have. But I know that if I can throw it at the Necromancer and like use it to sever him from his magical abilities just for a minute, it'll save sort of the people who are fighting behind me, because behind me there's a bunch of the D-list level human soldiers that were recruited and stuff. So it's sort of like I sort of have a flashback of all my 3 dwarven companions dying in the battle with the goblins, and I'm getting that feeling again because I'm deep in that red rage. And so I see the Necromancer ahead, and so I wind up and I throw this axe with everything that I have, and knowing that it's leaving behind the last part of myself that's connected to the Iron Mountains, the place where I grew up, the things that I had to deal with, endure as the bastard son of the king, but knowing that doing so will sort of redeem my failures in the mountain and save the people behind me, and that's worth it.
Okay.
And it hits
so
the
you-
Necromancer, and it distracts him.
Okay, so you guys see Grak in the middle of this fight, and it's very disorienting for you guys, because while you're standing like 20 feet behind him in this pitch, combat's all around you. Undead, dead, not dead, good, bad, like, it's pretty crazy, but you guys see Grak looking at this. He looks at this axe. It's very intricately covered in runes, and he winds back. He throws it. What's been holding everyone back from the Necromancer at this point has been this big shield. And as he throws it, all the runes on the side of the axe flash, and it pierces through the shield as if it's not there. The Necromancer sees it coming, panics, turns. He holds up his hands to kind of catch the axe probably a foot away from him, and the axe slowly disintegrates into ash. But while doing that, that outer shield, you see it flicker and come down, and the people start charging in, and that's when the Necromancer looks around, panic, claps his hands and disappears and teleports out. Everyone's seeing this. The people in the immediate area start cheering on Grak, and one of the commanders is just like, you kid, come with me. And he basically brings you to the commander's tent and explains what you did. And at this point, you see a small kid unconscious on the ground. And they're talking about what they're going to do with this kid. And the commander who is near you, he volunteers you for a mission to escort this kid. And he's the main commander of the forces is just like, well, and it's decided. This dwarf, he will escort this kid, and he'll make even more of a name for himself, and he's going to save the world. What do you say, Mr. Skullcrusher?
Well, so I heard at some point he mentioned the Hill of Stars, and because of my research into, or my knowledge of Barbara Bessie Burpington III, I know that the Hill of Stars is where the gold yarn goats are born once every 100 years. One young goat is born. So I know that going there is going to give me a chance to bring back the gold yarn goat and bring it back to the Iron Mountains and sort of earn my place in the Iron Kingdom. So I agree. I will accompany this young lad. That's pretty much
okay. And with that, you guys, you see Grak. Everyone is clapping him on the back and giving him a bunch of huzzahs and hey-ohs and all of those things. And he is assigned to the quest to escort Abelard on the way. Let's move to our final person we'll probably get to tonight due to time stuff. Any questions, actually, real quick, or comments for Grak?
Brom gets very quiet and seems to be looking like all around with slight panic in his eyes, as if he really doesn't want to be here right now.
Doran kind of gets like
It's
a
a
sense
touching
of
story,
camaraderie
man.
that like Grak's kind of in this for similar reasons, personal reasons. So
Okay. So now, as that memory fades, we move to a new set of memories. Let me get this slowed up here.
the best or the worst, depending on how you look at it, right?
Mm-hmm. Brom. So, what you guys see in the beginning, as you know that you are entering into the consciousness of Brom, the first thing which you see is you're looking upon a medium height, slender, and graceful female whose skin is a pale gray and their eyes are a deep blue with long silvery blue hair. And these scenes are a little bit weird because they go by a little bit quicker. But the first scene which you see is like I just said, a female. You're not sure exactly what race she is, but has described these rich blue eyes, the silver blue hair. And you're watching as in front of her, surrounded by a group of less than reputable people, there's a male who somewhat resembles her and is admitting to a crime to everybody present. And it looks like she's about to call out, saying it wasn't him, but a nod from the gentleman silences her with tears in her eyes. And then it changes to the next scene, and you guys see the same woman being literally tossed into a dry and dirty street with dust kicking up all around her. And then the scene fades again, and you guys see the same woman who's sitting in a tavern. She's nursing a drink, and she's just kind of staring out into nothing with her eyes unfocused. But a small tear forms up on the edge of her eye. And all of a sudden, a gentleman who's well-dressed with daggers across his chest and all across his belt, he sits down across from her. And it's one of the gentlemen that you guys recognized in the background of the first scene. And they have a small conversation. It's sort of blurred, but he then looks at her in the eyes and says, "So are you willing to do this, to save him and get both of your lives back?" How do you respond to this question?
The girl in the vision says, "If that's what it will take, yes."
Okay. And with a nod, he stands up and leaves. And right before he leaves the tavern, he looks over his shoulder and he says, "You know what the penalty for failure is, and it stretches way beyond your own personal safety." And then the scene changes. And then the scene, it changes again, and you guys see Brom, who's being watched by the previously mentioned woman in a tavern. And you guys see Brom with his feet up on a table, and he's bragging to all of his friends, old and new, how he was handpicked to be part of the special strike force in some upcoming attack. And while the whole scene plays out, the focus is really only on Brom, and the rest of the vision is sort of fuzzy. What are some of the things that Brom says while he's drunk and bragging to everybody in the tavern?
There were thousands of archers they could have picked, but we all know that my arrows fly true, and I'm going to get that necromancer myself. I'm going to bring him back. I'm going to get the honor and glory that was always promised by my great line of ancestors.
Any questions so far from you guys?
Arthur, are you a
Confusion.
cross-dresser?
Is Brom still look like Arthur? In
Yes.
that we see right in front of us?
To Sucker,
Okay,
it does,
I
but
understand.
Brom looks normally like Brom
To us?
in this to the rest of you guys.
Okay. All right.
Very pretty
Grak is gonna elbow Ser Doran and say, "This Brum guy sounds like a real ass hot."
Yeah, I don't think they're working right anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
mushrooms must be faulty. I don't know what's going on here.
So the scene changes to the next morning, and you guys see Brom a little bit hungover, but talking some more. And again, there are a lot of people here, a lot more than should be here for a normal breakfast in a tavern. And you guys see this woman sitting in the corner, still observing him, just every aspect about him. The rest of the image is super fuzzy, but Brom and this woman are crystal clear. And you guys see Brom, who's being bought drinks from everyone around him, and everyone's looking at Brom as if he's some sort of hero. And after a few hours of drinking, he's pretty drunk. He stumbles up to his room, and you're not sure exactly where he went because the vision's still focused on the first floor of the tavern and just on the woman who's sitting there. After about 5 minutes, you guys see the woman stands up, and you follow her viewpoint up the stairs. and she walks directly to a specific door, knowing where she's going, and she knocks on it. And you guys hear Brom's voice inside saying, "Come on in." And you hear the woman enter. And you guys hear the voice of Brom say, "Oh, my dear, looks like I do have a going-away present before I debark after all." And with that, the scene, it kind of cuts out, and then what's probably by the outside direction of the sun a few hours later, you guys see the scene change, and Brom is currently standing over another Brom who's on the ground. And this Brom on the ground, he has his throat slit and is completely naked. The Brom standing over him, he's got a smile on his face, and he quickly looks into his reflection on a silver goblet that's on the nearby table. And after a few blinks, the left eye changes colors, and both eyes are now matching. The scene, it fades, and it transitions into battle. It seems we've jumped right to the battle with the Necromancer. And while there's a huge battle, the scene is focused on Brom, who's wading his way through this group of he's with 6 other people. It's Brom and 6 other people, none of who you guys recognize. And it seems that their task is kind of to sneak behind the main battle and stealth their way into the Necromancer's summer home. In and out, no problem is what the commander promised, is what you see Brom remembering. What they're actually facing is their tiny group being surrounded by a ton of undead created by all the fallen bodies of the soldiers around them. So Brom, how or what are you feeling you're doing right now, surrounded on all sides by these undead?
Completely terrified. I have never been in a battle, and I'm not even sure how to use this bow. And there are so many undead, and I know I need to get something. I need to get through. I need to get that phylactery and that gem, and I can't make it through. And I run. I leave the group behind, and I just bolt for the Necromancer's keep.
Any questions so far, group?
That seems like the Brom we expect, just running around.
No problem. So Brom, he finds a way in the
Although
chaos.
she's right, she's.
What?
Andy cut out.
No, I was gonna say she's running in the wrong direction. She usually goes the other way, back. She's running forward this time. There's something broke in our Brom this time.
So you guys see Brom take a chance to slip away from this side battle, and Brom makes his way into the home. And Brom, you see in front of you a glowing blue gem that's floating on a pedestal that's protected by glass covered in magical wards. And you think to yourself, this probably shouldn't take too long, but as you approach it, you hear someone entering from a side room through a door that's nearby. So you hear the ramblings of some young kid muttering to himself. So you quickly hide behind a curtain, waiting until this person passes so you're not detected. After about a minute, the sounds of the kid who's muttering fade, and the person leaves the room, and you peer out from behind the curtain, and the gem is gone. What are you thinking at this point, and what do you do?
I'm thinking that I have to follow. I have to get that gem. That's why I'm here. So I follow behind the kid, following the voice and the rambling.
Okay. So as you start to follow the kid towards the doorway, you hear a divine song that just sings into your ears as if a chorus is singing out. And then a little bit after that, you hear a bunch of cheers and huzzas that are ringing out of what you realize the good army in this battle. You step out of the front door to follow and to see what's going on with the small teenage boy who's holding that blue glowing gem. And you see just in time as he steps out, sees everybody in front of him, panics in some way, drops it. It breaks open. And a ton of this like energy, soul, ghost looking thing enters his body, if such a thing is even possible. At this point, you're a little bit panicked, and you have a
Very.
sending stone on you, and you know who you need to contact. How does that conversation go?
Hi, I'm here, and the gem just broke, and all the souls went into this kid. What do? I can't fail. Please give me another chance. I'll do anything.
So you hear a voice from the other end, a voice you guys recognize from one of the earlier visions of the gentleman who was sitting at the tavern with her. And he says, I will give you a little bit more time, but your brother will suffer more and more every day that you delay in this process. I hope that you return while there's still something left of him to claim. And then you guys see a strong dwarf scoop up a child who's unconscious, a commander nearby who's given orders. You see a holy cleric who everybody's clapping on the back, who is being assigned to the role of escorting this kid on some mission that you're unaware of. You see the dwarf who also steps forward to volunteer / was volunteered to keep an eye on him. And as you kind of step forward, thinking what you're going to do, a new plan hatches in your mind, Brom, and we will cut the vision off there. So before we go any further into questions, do we just want to call it there? Because we have a lot of questions for Brom, and we still have Abelard's version
Lots
too.
and lots.
Okay, so we'll call it there. A lot of questions for Brom. We still have to see Abelard's version of the whole thing. Things ran a little bit longer than expected. And you guys will go to all the craziness which follows that. So I'm looking very forward to next week. For all of my players, I thank you all for watching. For I'm sorry, the players, I thank you all for playing. For all of the people who are watching, I thank you all for watching, and I'll turn it over to Andy.
Yeah, thank you guys. Like you said, thank you so much for hanging out with us, whether on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, however you came and played and watched along. Thank you so much. If you are new to the show, hit that like and subscribe button or follow or whatever the various button is on your platform. We'll be back on Thursday night with another episode of the Fantasy Fiends show. And again, Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific time for Deranged and Questing, the Necromancer's Idiot Apprentice. Good night. Everybody say good night.
Thank you all, and
Good
thank you,
night.
Rebecca, for joining us. Woo!
Yeah.
Who knew antenna hurt so much?
Are we still live?